Welcome to Behind the Deal with Gongu Roach. Today, I'm going to show you what I've encountered during my journey of the past 20 years with some of my clients on what have happened when their Schedule A works weren't properly administered. I've had clients that thought that maybe just signing with a performance rights organization was going to take care of everything, like, collect their performance royalties and their mechanical royalties. And just thinking that signing with a PRO, performance rights organization, again, was going to take care of everything. And they would, just because they see foreign territories on the ASCAP BMI or CSAC statement, thinking that's going to cover the mechanical royalties from Canada and, foreign territories on the mechanical side, and due to that, for example, not having proper administration, there's people watching you on how you make claims, and they'll take advantage of, what you're not making claims on, and they'll just absorb more of your songs in different places, and they'll start, they can start making good money. You know what I'm saying? So, I saw, for example, I've been in and out of court with somebody. I was in court, a couple of times I was in court with somebody, but for example, I knew a guy for like 20 years he was making claims. Didn't know the music industry like that. He was just taught by somebody or people on how to make claims and how you can make money just making claims because it's civil and you're not going to go to jail. And I think this guy might have went to jail before for maybe check fraud, for example, or something like that. And, they could say, hey, you ain't got to do that no more. You can just steal publishing. You know what I'm saying? And, and you can just get over like that. And you're not going to go to jail for stealing publishing. So it's civil. So it's not criminal like that. So why don't you just do this? And you'll probably make more money doing that than doing check forgery with banks and getting caught, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that person was taught, and he, I guess from like 2003 on, he might have accumulated 1,000 songs that he stole. And I'll name some of the names down the line, but he absorbed like 1,000 songs and took his catalog to a publishing company, which was bought by BMG later, but he took his, the company didn't do their diligence, and they might have gave him an advance check for $500,000 on a bunch of songs. That was just the advance. They gave him $500,000, maybe like 03 or so, for songs that he didn't even own. You know what I'm saying? The publisher who was administered the rights should have did better research, and it was easy to do, but I guess they were lackadaisical, and he had some good talk for them, and the deal worked out for him. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he stole 1,000 songs at least, and it's, he might have taken 10 songs from you, 80 songs from you, 2 songs from you, and what have you, and from a bunch of writers. Next thing you know, it adds up to 1,000 songs. So, for example, I got right here a well-known producer that's done a bunch of hit records, and he was he helped launch DMX with his production, what have you, and his name is Damon Blackman, all right? So, as I was journeying with Damon Blackman, I saw this guy stole 20 of Damon Blackman's songs, right? So back in like 2019, we had to start a lawsuit, all right? If you see, it says Wonder Boy, it might say Rashid Harrison there, Rollo or Rashid Harrison right there. So that was the company and the guy who was stealing songs, right? And he might have had, this was 2019, and he might have had his songs from like 2003, so he was already collecting probably for like 16 years or something like that, and he already took some good money and what have you. And so we had to take him to Southern District Court, Manhattan, and he was the only person who didn't show. Now, the redacted company I'm in good standing with, so I'm not trying to go there with that, but if you see there's BMG there, and those were the rights holders at the time from the admin deal that Wonder Boy did with BMG. You know what I'm saying? So, we had to run down on BMG and tell BMG, this guy doesn't own anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, all these songs he gave you, he never owned any of these songs like that. You know what I'm saying? Or he didn't have rights to admin these writers to, bring over the Schedule A work for you to administrate and what have you. So that's what the case was about. But he was the only one that didn't show up to court. Now, I remember going to court, and there was 2 white guys in the back, and come to find out maybe a month later, that was the feds, and they came to the court case, and they were looking for him. So he was smart not to show up, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if they were going to apprehend him, or they were just watching him, or I don't know what was going on, but, my lawyer told me that those guys in the back, that was the feds, you know what I'm saying? So that was pretty smart of him, but we got the 20 songs back eventually for Dame Grease, and worked some things out, and everything worked out on that end, which is all good now. Everybody's in good standing. Dame's whole and has all his songs, right? And like I said, this guy, well, I didn't say before, but this guy was more like a white-collar criminal. And, he was just looking for a lick and how he can kind of score, but he was very inexperienced, with court and things like that. And I know he gassed up one of Fetty Wap's group members that was part of the Remy Boys, and he gassed him up to sue the record label for the record 679 remix. I think he tried to sue for $7 million, but this was in court case. This was in court like in 2017 or so. I remember him trying to sue for $7 million. I mean, it eventually got thrown out after a while, but I mean, he tried, he didn't understand the value of a record, thinking that he could sue for $7 million when a person only owned 15% of 679 remix. I mean, just coming up with numbers, I guess, you know what I'm saying? It just didn't make any sense. So, and he also met, I spoke to this guy a couple of times, a producer named Diesel. Diesel did Mrs. Officer for Lil Wayne and produced Lollipop for Lil Wayne. And I did some research recently and found an article where Diesel talks about this guy, all right? So here's an article right here, right? I just like showing everything. So in this article, he says, in addition to Lollipop suing Lollipop, Diesel filed a lawsuit for over the 2008 song Mrs. Officer, for which he is seeking $2.5 million in unpaid royalties. Shortly after filing his suits, the 3-time Grammy-winning producer distanced himself from associate Rashid Rollo Wonder Harrison, who he claimed would come after other labels who hadn't ponied up what they were owed. Mind you, I mean, he's making claims to Diesel like, oh, I'm going to get you your money and this and that. This guy doesn't know what he's doing. Mind you, he's just taught how to make claims, but he's no expert with law and lawsuits and stuff like that. Even if he hired a lawyer, he can't. It's a whole nother story. So, Mr. Harrison was terminated from a trial basis management agreement for various indiscretions, which included forgery, misrepresentation, and lack of knowledge in the music industry, which I already explained. Diesel continued in the statement, at this vital point in my career, it is imperative to have seasoned, educated individuals assisting me in my ventures. So, unfortunately, Diesel had to deal with this guy. I'm glad he got rid of him, before he ruined his life and stuff like that. So, what happened was during the court case, one of the reasons we were able to get Dame's stuff back and maybe some stuff back for some other people is that we got this guy to sign an affidavit, all right? Now, it's in small print right here. And I redacted some names here once again and company names, but this is an affidavit that he signed. But I'm gonna read it to you right quick what the affidavit says, all right? So this is what we got him to sign to. Rashid Harrison, aka Rollo, do hereby swear and affirm under penalty of perjury as follows. I, nor the Game Entertainment, nor Wonder Boy Entertainment, had the legal right nor authority to enter into any music publishing or administration agreements with Bug Music nor any other company on behalf of the writers and their publishing companion, as if applicable, listed on the Schedule A here too. So basically, he admitted that he had no rights to administrate anybody's catalog, and I did, and Bug mentioned here because BMG eventually bought Bug, and that's why it's BMG in the lawsuit and not Bug. All right, so we were able to use this affidavit and give this affidavit to BMG just tell BMG, hey, like, you see this paperwork right here? All the stuff that you're holding, we got right here, and it's notarized and everything. We got him to admit that he doesn't own any of these songs. You know what I'm saying? Between Bug and you, y'all been paying him the last 20 years or so, or 18 years or so. Y'all got to let all this stuff go. So they let it all go. You know what I'm saying? But under those administration rights, just to name some names that he was stealing from like 2003 to like the time I gave Bug Music that paperwork. I mean, BMG that paperwork, maybe like 2021 or something like that. I gave that to them, 2020, 21. Names like Jay-Z, 50 Cent, I remember Mr. Cheeks, Naughty by Nature, just a whole bunch of famous people. And it doesn't make a difference how famous you are. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean like, oh, everybody got their business straight. It actually makes things worse. You know what I'm saying? Because like the more songs I have, the more Schedule A my publisher is holding, it's kind of like the easier I can kind of like sneak some songs off. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there was just a whole list of names that this guy was stealing from: producers, writers, artists with publishing. Like I said, I got BMG to let all that go. Brand Nubian was in there. I mean, I can go on for days, all the people that he was robbing. So, I mean, this is just more of a lesson for y'all to understand that you have to get your administration right early. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't, there's people there that will take claims, and since you guys don't really, or some of y'all don't really understand how to read a royalty statement, you're not going to know what's missing. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, every day I talk to somebody that, I mean, 95% of the time, 90 more than that, they're not really reading the royalty statement or understanding it. I mean, you could look at the royalty statement all day and not really understand stuff. You could just, all you're looking at is gazing at territories, money, songs, percentages and things like that, but you still don't understand the other end of what's missing and things like that. And you know, the more popular you are, the more statements you have. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you can have 40,000 pages in a statement, and 30,000 pages in a statement. I mean, you gotta be real popular, but I'm just saying, you're gonna have tens of thousands of pages in the statement. You're not reading that. You know what I'm saying? What you're doing is you're just waiting for the check. You know what I'm saying? You know the direct deposit came, and you're not really looking in your portal. And even if you look in your portal, look at the statements. I really haven't met anybody that said, oh yeah, like, I understand what's missing clearly. You know what I'm saying? It's just rare. You know what I'm saying? So you got to understand how, you just have to get an administrator early and make sure they stick their flag in the ground early throughout all the territories and the other PROs around the world. So they'll protect your rights worldwide. And so other people just can't come in and just, you know, make claims. You know what I'm saying? I had a client that signed a deal, and his administrator didn't make claims for like a year and a half later. And that gave, you know, the opposition 6, 8, 9 months to make claims and then relinquish the claims. And then by the time the admin came in, they didn't even know what happened. You know, they just made the claims, and whatever money came in, and it went through the software and got pressed out into the statements, and they never knew what happened. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen people live extravagant lifestyles just off of making claims off of other people. You know what I'm saying? So just protect yourself. If you don't know how to protect yourself properly, you can reach out to me. If you got any questions, or you got any, I'd like if you left a comment, and I can answer you all back. Like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you think about this video. Thank you.